So I'm sure you're all aware that Disney and Lucasfilm recently, or not so recently, came out with a bunch of Star Wars projects that are coming out in the next couple of years. But I have 10 more that I want to pitch to Lucasfilm today. They range from games, series, and movies. So without further ado, let's get into what I want to pitch to Lucasfilm. So, the first one is going to be a movie placed between The Phantom Menace Episode 1 and Attack of the Clones Episode 2, mainly focused on the uprise of the Separatists before the Clone Wars and Obi-Wan training Anakin as he would be a young teen in this time. I think it would be so interesting to see how powerful Anakin actually was as a 14, 15-year-old, considering we have many other characters that we see as a teenager, like Ahsoka and Ezra Bridger, that we have quite a good, knowledge of their power. So it would be really interesting to see where Anakin, scales into that. Would he be more powerful as he is the Chosen One, or would he be less powerful as he didn't have as much experience in combat? So yeah, that is number one, and let's get on to the second idea I want to pitch. So it is no secret that the Clone Wars massively helped out the prequels, whether that just be making that era of Star Wars better, or if you thought it was already incredible anyway, it helped the fans see it as good as it actually was. So think of a trilogy that isn't really perceived and thought of by a lot of fans very well. Well, you probably landed on the sequels. So my idea is a Clone Wars style in terms of length, in terms of animation quality, in terms of how good it actually was for the sequel trilogy. We have Resistance, but if I'm being honest, as someone that has watched it, it's not very good. So I would really want to see a Clone Wars style show for the war between the Resistance and the First Order, set between Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. We'd get to see some of Rey's training as well, which may help people think she's not as much of a Mary Sue as they already do think she is. And yeah, maybe some further hints of Finn's Force sensitivity. We get to see Kylo leading the First Order, because we obviously know that's what he did between 8 and 9, and I think that would be incredible to see how Kylo did that. So yeah, that's the second one. Now, thirdly is something I've covered quite a lot on YouTube and TikTok, is Battlefront 3. We want Battlefront 3, and just before I carry on, there's an event happening June 1st where every player with Battlefront 2 is hopping on the game to show EA, by overrunning the servers with how many players are on it, that we want Battlefront 3. The truth is, Battlefront 2 is far from how good it actually could be. If we just isolate it down to the supremacy and the stuff like that, and the heroes versus villains, it is so far from complete. Just the amount of characters that are lacking is unreal. Let me list off a few of them here, and when I say a few, I mean more than a few. Mace Windu, Qui-Gon, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Aayla Secura, Ahsoka Tano, Luminara Unduli, Quinlan Vos, Cal Kestis, Padme, Sabine, Kanan, Ezra, Bo-Katan, Mando, Cara Dune, Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, the daughter, the father, Hondo, R2-D2, Chirrut Imwe, Cassian Andor, IG-11, the Armorer, Sirajunda, Shakti, Sazy Tin, Agent Kola, Adi Galia, Depa Balaba, Joe Castanu, and every member of the Bad Batch other than Crosshair. That's just the light side. Now let's go on to the dark side. Jango Fett, Darth Plagueis, Pre Vizsla, Moff Gideon, the Grand Inquisitor, the second sister, the fourth sister, the fifth brother, the sixth brother, the seventh sister, the eighth brother, the ninth sister, the 10th brother, Asajj Ventress, Mother Talzin, Savage Opress, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Cad Bane, Embo, Aurra Sing, the Sun, Goldie, Barriss Offee, Greedo, Dengar, Old Daka, Pong Krell, Snoke, Zam Whistle, Malicos, and Crosshair. And that doesn't even touch on all the new content and characters we'd be getting in Star Wars at the time that this game would be released, if they made it, like the Kenobi show and stuff like that, because it would take a while to get this out. So yeah, just in the character side of the game, there is so much more that needs to be and could be done, let alone planets and maps. And that's not even considering the Hero Starfighters with all the ships that could be added, and just the general game modes that could be added, and the campaign. That's literally just characters. I went on for so long. I did a video about like mini games that need to be added to Battlefront 3. It's a while back, but it was genuinely really good, and I recommend you checking it out. But that is the third one. Now, the fourth idea that I want to pitch to Lucasfilm is a what if series similar to the one that Marvel is releasing. There's so much possibility that can be done with a what if series. It doesn't have to make any sense, because it won't be canon, because obviously it's a what if. It can be, what if Qui-Gon survived? What if Leia swapped place with Luke and she was the one that was trained? What if Kylo turned back to the light in The Force Awakens? What if Ahsoka died to Vader in Rebels? What if Maul killed Obi-Wan in Rebels? What if Mace Windu survived? What if Boba Fett never survived? What if Mando didn't stop IG-11 from saving Grogu? What if Darth Vader survived in Return of the Jedi? Like, there is unlimited possibilities. This would be incredible. It wouldn't have to be like a series where they release it weekly. It could genuinely be just a random thing they have on Disney Plus. They release, like, I don't know, 4 of them a year at random times, just for like forever, really. It could literally be ongoing until the end of Star Wars, which I don't really know when that will be, because that doesn't make any sense why it would end, because there's stuff like this that can last forever. But yeah, that is the fourth idea, a what if series. Now, the fifth idea is going to be a Darth Vader movie. Now, this is something a lot of people have wanted for a very long time, and it's something that I think is potentially needed. We have so much content on like Vader within the comics that express his power level, but on screen, if we're being honest, his power level is a bit like hard to read. We see him in Rebels like beat Ahsoka, but not like completely easily. He destroys Kanan and Ezra, which at that time were terrible anyway. And we see him destroy Luke, who hardly had any training in Empire Strikes Back, and then he loses to Luke in Return of the Jedi. He's meant to be one of the most powerful Sith Lords ever, so it would be incredible to see him on screen slaughtering so many Jedi. This would not be a light-hearted focus on the good guys movie. This would be much like my next idea, where it would be focused on Vader being the bad guy, being a boss, and killing everyone. Now, obviously this movie does need a plot, so it could be like what the Bad Batch has done with the Kanan comic, where they take like things from the comic, base a story on it, but change it slightly for like on the screen. So maybe it decanonizes some comics, or maybe they like keep it the exact same, they just show it on screen. I would be happy with both, but yeah. Now, the next idea is a General Grievous Jedi killer movie. This would take place very early on in the Clone Wars, potentially giving flashbacks as like to General Grievous's creation. A lot of people have wanted to see some like Clone Wars stuff in live action. I think this would give it, whilst focusing on the bad guys, which we didn't really get too much of in the Clone Wars. I think this would be incredible, showing why Grievous was feared so much, because in the movies, for people that have only watched the movies, he does lose to Obi-Wan the first time we see him. So yeah, I think it'd be really good to see how strong Grievous actually is. Now, continuing on the line of movies, we need a Thrawn solo movie, to be honest. Whether it's his origins or just his time in the Empire, I think it would make more sense if it was his origins. I just want to see Thrawn in live action. Anything with Thrawn in live action, we need it. I think the best place to do it would be his origins as he got into the Empire, taking place before Rebels. Thrawn is just one of my favourite characters. He is incredible. He is loved by so many. And again, it would be a bad guys focused movie, which is what people want to see. People's favourite movies are when the good guys lose. Think, in Star Wars, what's your favourite movie from the prequels? Most of you said Revenge of the Sith. What's your favourite movie from the original trilogy? Most of you said Empire Strikes Back. What's your favourite Marvel movie? Most of you just said Infinity War. Like, come on. We need to see more of when it doesn't go the good guys' way, or when we just see the bad guys. So yeah, I really want a Thrawn movie. P.S. I know we have comics on Thrawn, but I want to see it on the screen. So next up is Luke's Jedi School movie duo. This is not a trilogy because it would be a bit confusing, to be honest. This would be more closer to episode 7 than the next thing I'm going to list. But yeah, it will show like what Luke was actually doing with his Jedi Order. What was his aim for his Jedi Order? Him recruiting people to it. We would see Grogu in it as well. We'd get to see Kylo, his eventual turn into Kylo from Ben Solo. We'd see that happen in the second of the two duos. I think it'd be better to make it a movie duo rather than a trilogy, because then what would you call the trilogy? Is it the sequels? Now the sequels are the sequels. Is it the prequel sequels? Like, it's a bit confusing, but yeah, I think it'd be really good to just show a bit of like the fall of the Empire. Well, not really the fall of the Empire. This would be more the rise of the First Order. The next thing I want to say would be the fall of the Empire. But yeah, anything to bridge the gap between the originals and sequels, to build on the sequels, I think is really needed, because the sequels are hated, and I think as like a company, Star Wars do need to work towards changing that. Now you can see Jedi Leia on your screen here, and that's because the next idea is a series of Luke straight after Return of the Jedi. This would be his adventures in training Leia as a Jedi. This would be him going to get Grogu. Obviously we wouldn't see him go to get Grogu, but we'd see him with Grogu, because he has Grogu quite close to after Return of the Jedi. And yeah, it would just be showing Luke getting into his prime, because we know his prime wasn't Return of the Jedi. It is between 6 and 7. It's probably around the time of the Mandalorian, so we get to see the full power of Luke Skywalker. And we know they are not afraid to bring back Luke and use CGI or potentially recast. Sebastian Stan looks a lot like Mark Hamill when he was younger. With some CGI on top of Sebastian, I think it could work really, really well. Now, the last and 10th idea that I'm pitching to Lucasfilm is a Hondo Ohnaka live-action space pirate series. I don't really have a clue what the plot to this would be. I don't know when it would be based. I guess it would make the most sense either between Clone Wars and Rebels, after Rebels, or before the Clone Wars. But yeah, I just want to see Hondo in live action, to be honest. Who doesn't? Hondo is so funny, such a good character, and it would just be so good to see him on the screen in live action. I don't know who they'd cast. I think Johnny Depp would be a great one, but yeah, I'm not actually too sure. But with that being said, that is the end of the video, as that is the 10th idea that I'm pitching to Lucasfilm. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. Whilst you're down there, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment what you thought. Potentially leave one of your own ideas. Tell me what your favourite was, tell me what your least favourite was, and yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for 2,800 subscribers. We are nearing on that 5k mark, which is the next big milestone. So yeah, thanks for watching. In a bit.